Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pogo Cactus development vlog. I am going to be developing platforms for this game. So right now, we have a couple stand-in platforms. Right now we have that ground platform, and then we have those two static platforms. They're not being auto-generated as the character moves up. So that's what we're going to tackle today. Also, our designer, programmer, wizard of Wonder Wizard, Tori, developed this cute spotlight animation when he dies, which was a delight to pull the main branch and see that update. Let me turn that volume down. Hey, why did the audio disappear when I hit settings? Uh-oh, I must have broken something. Oh, the pause system paused the audio node. I guess that's acceptable. That's acceptable. Acceptable behavior. So we have these platform nodes already. And what we're doing with this prototype scene is I just manually dragged and dropped the platform scene to duplicate it a couple times. So we want to take these placeholders away, and we want to replace it with a spawning system for the platforms. So for the platform system, I'm going to keep a simple array of an arbitrary number of platforms, something reasonable to hold within memory. We really don't need more than probably, I'm guessing 4 platforms on the screen at once, but I'm just going to keep something like 8 in memory maybe, just in case, So as Carl, this blob is going to be Carl. I'm not the artist of the game. This is going to platform, right? These blocks. So as Carl moves up platforms, let's say he jumps up that one and then jumps up to this one, and he jumps up 4 more. So let's say this was the 4th platform. There's more platforms down here. So he's not here anymore. He's right here. Then as he jumps up, these are going to be despawned. And what I want to do is I want to keep I'm going to have a global variable that's, minimum Y, last Y position of the last platform right here. And so if he happens to fall off a platform and not land on a platform below, if he hits that Y position, then I'm going to emit a signal that he has died from falling because he fell. And I think it would be really funny if we did an animation where his pants fell off, his clay pot that he's sitting in and poking around. That'd be really funny if his pot just fell down. Anyways, so that's the plan for if he falls. And so now if he keeps going up, there's no platform there. So as soon as I despawn the last one, well, if I have 8 platforms, then that means behind the scenes, before they even scroll up on the screen, there's going to be more platforms waiting for him. But as soon as I despawn one, I will spawn another one off the screen up here and keep that array full of 8 platforms. So it's basically just going to be, the array, and then I'm going to pop off the end of the array, or beginning of it, depending on how I order it. And then I'm going to append another platform node onto that array. So once I create a new one, then I will append that onto the platform array. That's about it. That's about all. But some other things we need to take into account is as the score goes up in the game, right? Or as he gets farther up, his Y distance that we keep track of for the score system, right? That's the major metric we have for the score system, at least right now, is it's based off of the Y. I think it actually just rounds the distance to an integer is what the score system is doing for the Y distance. So as he moves up, we also want to increase the difficulty, presumably, maybe not too crazy, but some things that would probably increase the difficulty maybe is, randomizing this distance right here, randomizing the distance between the platforms, right? So every time we spawn a new platform, if the most recent platform is B, and then the new one we're going to append is A to the array, then we will want to find out what B's position is, right? And then we want to add a random, vector to a random centered around 0, right? Because I could shift left or right. Well, it would probably look more like this. It would probably be vec2 rand or 0 plus rand x, 0 plus rand Y, something like that, right? So we'll take platform B's position, and then for the new platform A position equals something like that, right? So that's how we'll do that. I'm thinking that's all there is to it. Some other things we could do is once the platform has been spawned within that platform scene. So I'm not talking about the overall platform system right now. This is a feature we could add to the platform scene itself. Once we spawn it, it could possibly move itself left to right. I think that would be an interesting feature if the platforms were moving. That could be, after 100 platforms have spawned or something, or a couple dozen platforms have spawned, maybe we can make it more difficult by starting to move the platforms left to right slowly. That's all my thoughts for the platform system. That's where I'm going to get started. Now cue the montage of bugs, and I don't even remember what caused this bug for the platform to split into two pieces. So the first problem solving step I took toward this is to just show that I could spawn new platforms in random positions, and I put a timer behind it that I'm going to delete later, but I just wanted to see physically where these platforms were landing. And spoiler alert, they're kind of landing in the wrong spot. They're centered more to the right rather than the center of the screen. Looks like I fixed whatever issue is causing the platform chunks to detach from each other. Immediately here, you can see that the platforms are spawning way too close together in the up and down direction. If you just ignore the platform spawning left to right, so I suppressed the random addition in the X direction just to get the Y direction right. And this looks about good. I think I started at about 1/8 of the screen size, plus or minus a little bit of randomness to test. And once I was happy with the Y distance that tended to be generated, I moved on to start throwing in some random X as well. I was super excited about this. It finally felt like the game was coming to life. We had been working on it for months. Tori on the art and the UI design and logic, and me putting together all the systems. We kind of built the game backwards. Usually, in game development, they say like prototype, test, get the word out, market first. And now we're doing everything backwards. Tori did all the art, and I built like all the screen systems and the game state logic. But you know what? I don't regret it, because now as we're prototyping stuff, we have a bunch of systems developed where we just drag and drop things and they're ready to go. The game felt really static, not nearly dynamic enough, so to liven it up, I started moving the platforms down. And this is where I realized I actually started getting pretty good at this pogo mechanic. I mean, I'm probably not going to be the best in the world at this game, even though I helped develop it. But I started getting a little bit addicted to this game loop, and I started getting my own little high scores that I was racing against. I also started working on the weather system. So there are these rain clouds that roll in, and if you notice at the top of the screen, that water bar, that's his health bar. And so you have to keep the health bar in the center. You can't get Carl too full or he'll burst, right? Cactuses burst when they get too much water in them. And then you can't let the water bar go too low to 0, because then Carl will dry out, and that's not fun either. So this adds a little sprinkle of seasoning, a little sprinkle of flavor to the game, right? Because you have to kind of keep your eye on the water bar as you're jumping up platforms. And then you have to also make very quick decisions and time trying to collect raindrops. You'll notice the pink background on each raindrop, and that's the collision area that you have to collide with in order to collect that raindrop. I was actually super excited when I first developed it, because I multiplied the position of the collision area times the sprite frame of the raindrop. So each raindrop, Tori set it up so that it's one vertical sprite sheet, and the visual of the drop moves down. But I was like, how do I add a collider to this? And then I just set up, I think, a spherical or oval little collision area. And then every single time the frame changes on that sprite animation, it sets the distance on the collision area to a little bit further down, or resets it back up to the top, depending on where the raindrop is in the animation. You'll also notice this giant semi-translucent green background. That shows you the boundary of the touch screen for pulling Carl up and down to Pogo. And the rain is labeled pink. So I actually just learned this about Godot. I've only built a couple games before, but there are actually debug things that are very helpful for you to understand the collision between all sorts of different things, and where you're putting touch input, all of the little areas that are invisible and you're kind of trying to imagine where they go. You can actually set each one a color, and you can debug it that way. So it's super helpful to see where on the platforms you actually need to land with that little blue bar that's going to be invisible while the game is, actually deployed and running. All those pink little debug visuals for the collider, for the raindrops, that's going to be disabled, right? So all of this is just for my purposes to debug, and it makes me feel like an actual game developer when I use this. I added some movement to the platforms. I don't know if you already pulled that and saw that. So now, also
But they
he collides.
moved down too.
Yeah, he collides with the rain. Oh shoot. Yeah, and he fell too far, so he died. But let me show you the rain collision. It's really cool. Whee! I'm really bad at this game. I'm getting better though.
Is it fun?
It's very fun. Yeah, see how the rain nodes go away when he collides with them?
Maybe I should get rid of the shadow under it. Oh, it disappeared.
Yeah,
Are
I
they
have them
temporary?
despawn. Yeah, I have them despawn as well. So,
What if we like had them shrink while they're raining?
ooh, that's smart. I like that idea.
And then when they're finished shrinking, they despawn.
So when it's not on test death, there's a timer like every three seconds or whatever, your water bar is depleted. So I thought that was pretty minimal. Honestly, it could even be a little bit
I
faster.
think after we play with it for a while, we can figure out what a good timing.
Yeah. I was having a lot of fun with wait time, I think 0.5 between depletions. Yeah, like see it's going a
Oh,
little
now
bit.
that it's slower, it looks a lot smoother.
What's slower? Oh, the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Oh shit. I thought I was gonna die. Oh no, I gotta get rain, I'm gonna die.
Just
I got it! Fuck! Kill Carl. Oh, I died. It's still depleting! I fixed that bug and then got further distracted by the core platform issue by adding a bunch of sound effects to the game. So me and Tori had recorded a whole sound effects library for this game. We were in my kitchen and we had balloons and we were pouring water into cups and stuff and all sorts of funky little things to make noises with. And I ended up editing a whole afternoon just of like something like 600 sounds to choose from, which is kind of overkill, but you know, at least we have the sound library for the game and we have some cute noises. Fun fact, the sound of him hitting the platform when he falls down on one is actually us dropping a banana on the counter. That's my favorite little fun fact. As you're pulling to Pogo, that sound is Tori stretching a balloon and letting it go while I'm recording it, one of those long little balloons. And then the whistle sounds when you start or end the game, like when it goes whistle up and then when you die, it whistles down. That's actually me just doing a little whistle noise. And then I auto-tuned the heck out of it to fit the key of the game so it didn't clash so much with the music behind it. I don't remember if I auto-tuned like other sounds to kind of fit with the music behind it. The sound of Carl collecting raindrops is just us pouring water into a cup. And then you'll notice on this version of the code, I also must have pulled and integrated Tori's changes that now the clouds fade out when they're done producing rain. You'll also notice that when I start the game, the platforms are much closer to the center of the screen. It's easier to jump. And then as you go up platforms, it scales the difficulty of the game. I started that system of setting difficulty levels. So it felt like this development sprint, a lot of stuff really came together. Like I said, we spent a lot of time building all these little individual systems. Like Tori went off and built a whole weather system for just one cloud and rain and stuff. So I came in and I created like a simple spawning system to spawn the clouds in and out, right? To kind of go a level above that. So that just about covers the development vlog for this week. We implemented the first pass at, platform spawning system, first pass at the weather system, and then first pass at sound effects, which personally, I think that's the last pass at sound effects. I really don't think we need to touch them until we start adding other things. There was one more thing I wanted to add to my to-do list to record like monsoon sounds whenever it rains outside. Just so we can keep the theme of like everything homegrown, home recorded here with this game. So I'm excited for when it rains next, just to have rain, and also for us to have it for Pogo Cactus. Other than that, you'll have to stay tuned for what's in store for the next sprint. No idea what I'm going to be working on next. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of testing gameplay ideas and balancing between all the rates of everything depleting and generating and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you'll stick around for the next video I post. Bye-bye.